Greetings hobbyists, this is Arsanzavul, and in this video we're going to have a look at how we can make exploded view videos like you might want to use for promotional material or for something like a Kickstarter. Before I start, I'd just like to give a quick shout out to the patrons that are supporting the channel. If you'd be interested in supporting the channel as well, do feel free to come over to Patreon. The link's in the description and at the bottom of the video, and any support is really appreciated. Now let's get on with the video. So for this we're going to use our building that we created previously. This was a while ago and there's a series looking at this fantasy building. The link is in the top right hand corner, and let's start dealing with some, let's call it quality of life things that we need to do and have set up. The first one is we need a timeline. So I'm going to put my mouse to a corner, come here, and then I'm going to select that I want to have a timeline. So we've now got this at the bottom. Probably doesn't need to be that big, somewhere around there. The other thing, and this one is personal preference, is if I come to our output settings, which is just here, you'll notice you've got your frame rate, and mine starts by default on 24 FPS. So 24 frames per second, that means in the second that is split over 24 frames. Now, I have a tendency to change this to 30. That's just personal preference. You could change it to higher than that, but do bear in mind, and we're not going to talk about rendering in this, but if you were to render this, if you've got it at something like 50 frames per second or 60, that's going to take a massive amount of time to render, whereas 30's fairly doable. Now, why don't I leave it on 24? Well, I just quite like 30. It means that I know that on the timeline at the bottom, 30 is 1 second instead of 24. It's a nice round number, and importantly, I'm probably not going to animate anything that's not, let's say, a third of a second at the least, so I can quite comfortably go, well, that's 10. Equally, I know that 15's in the middle, so half a second. I just find it something that's nice and easy to work with. So it's up to you whether you want to change that, but I'd really remember that it's there if you're finding things difficult to work out on a timescale. So the way animation works, if you're not aware, is that you set a series of keyframes, and those keyframes tell Blender what to look at. Now, the first thing, because we've got multiple bits here, and I'm going to have them rotating, is we want them rotating around the same point. Now, there's several ways of achieving that, but just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to set all of the origins. So what I'm going to do is press Shift and S, and I'm going to move the cursor to the origin, which it's already there, but it's worth always checking, and then Shift and S, and then I'm going to move everything's origin to the cursor. Now, this is using machine tools. If you don't have machine tools, go get it. It's free. Go to Gumroad. Obviously, if you gave some money to the person that's created it, that'd be really good because obviously it's a fantastic program. Otherwise, you can do this fiddling around with all of your object information and setting origins and things like that. That's up to you. I prefer that menu. It's quicker. So now that we've got that all in the same place, everything's going to rotate around that spot. As I said, we could have done that differently. We could have been doing rotations using the cursor as a transform orientation. I'll leave that up to you, but this one works for me. So what I want here, as you saw in the beginning, is this to slightly rise up, because let's just do this. So if I G and Z, I want it to rise up as if we were taking it off, and these would get in the way with just rotating it sideways. So how are we going to do that? Well, first, there are multiple ways in Blender of achieving the same thing, so I'm going to go through a couple of them. The first one is actually going to probably not be the best way for this project. I'll talk you through that and demonstrate why, but I want you to know that there are different options out there, and it does depend on the project you're doing and how many pieces that it's going to have and what you want to do. Do you want it rotating or just moving? Things like that. So let's talk this through. I wouldn't follow along with this bit just because it might be wrong for your project, but I want you to know it. So I'm going to press N to bring out the end panel, and I've got all my transformation information here. And the first thing we need to do is for this roof, tell Blender, well, we want it here at the beginning. So I'm going to say this is the location that I want it at. So I'm going to go over to my location, and while I'm hovering over it, I'm just going to press I, and that's going to color code this, and you'll notice that it's going to have these there. So you've now got that keyframed. Now, do bear in mind that this might have different color coding. I can't remember if I've changed this at some point in the past. So if it does look different, then don't worry about it too much. But you'll notice that now, when I start to move this up, because I want this to G and Z and come up, you'll notice that it's moved on the Z axis, so it's changed that color. Now, I've actually done something wrong straight away here, because this, I now can't move to, let's say, 10, because as soon as I move this, it jumps back to where it was at 0. So the first thing you need to do is always remember, move your timeline first, then G and Z that up. And all I need to do is come over here, press I again. And then we're going to have this move up more. So that's taken 1/3 of a second. I'm going to have the final move up taking a whole second to give people time to have a look at it. So I've moved it to 40, so 30 frames longer, which we know is a second because of the frame rate. And I'm going to G and Z that up to somewhere about there. So there's enough space for the rest of the building. And then I'm going to press R and Z and then 180. Now, this is where things are going to go wrong. So you'd think that all I do is come to the location here, I, and then come to rotation and click I. And you'd sort of be right. Except, if I now bring this back to 0, you'll notice it's not round the right way. It's staying in that orientation or that rotation. That's because when it was 0, I didn't actually click the rotation. So, okay, mistake 1. Let's fix that. So I'm going to press Alt and R to bring that all back to 0 when we're at the 0 keyframe. I can come over here and press I. And yeah, I've sort of fixed it. Except, oh no, the rotation started to begin with because I also didn't set my keyframe here of what the rotation should be. So again, I'm going to have to Alt and R here and then press I on the rotation, and then I can come back to 0 and it's all working the way I want it to. Now this all gets a bit tedious because as soon as you think about this, you're actually going to have to do this for every single one of them, and this all gets a little bit much to do it all at the same point. So that's going to be annoying. You'll also notice that it's only showing the keyframes of the object we're on. So I'd recommend for a project like this, you don't do that. So what I'm going to do is just delete those keyframes. So what I'd suggest you do instead for something as complex as this is that you choose what you're going to be working on. So if you come down here to keying and you've got this symbol here, if you click on that, you can tell it the things to look at. So we're only interested in the rotation and the location, or location and rotation. So I'm going to click that. And now that we've done that, that is going to set the rotation and location for whatever object that's active, so active keying. So this means that we can set everything for each individual point, or if you select multiples, it will do it for all of them. So it makes everything a bit quicker. So what I'm going to do is start by saying for everything, so I've selected all of them, at the beginning, I want them here. So I'm just going to click I, and that has set a keyframe for, well, this, and this, and this, and this. And then I'm just going to use this to GZ. So we're just doing the same thing there, except for I've made the same mistake again. I always do that. I think there's something wrong with my brain. So G and Z there. It's probably just because I'm tired. And then I'm going to come to the side here and press A to select everything, and I again. And you'll notice for the ones that are here that are staying the same, it just uses this bar to show nothing's changing. So let's move this on to our 40. There we go. G, Z that up. R, Z, and 180 to have it halfway round, and then A to select everything, I, and we've got that sorted. So let's bring that to the beginning. So moves up, spins round. Right, now because we were selecting everything, when I come to 40, this has already got a selection point, so I don't have to do any more. Let's move it 10 more along, so 250, and then I'm going to G and Z that up again. Just on that axis, A for all, and then I to enter a keyframe for all of them. So this now knows that it's staying in place. Do note that I'm actually being a bit excessive here. I don't need to keyframe this at each individual point. I could have just done it once, but pressing A and I doesn't take that long. I haven't got that many objects. It's not creating extra effort for Blender. Yes, it's slightly computationally less efficient, I imagine, but I really don't care for just 3 or 4 objects. Then we're going to do the same thing again. So G and Z that. No, we're going to move our keyframe again. So we're going up to 80 and then G and Z that up. So let's say here, RZ 180 to there, and then A, I, and we've got our keyframe sorted. Again, we can just go back and check this. So we've got this nice up, twist, up, twist. So let's get these bottom parts moving as well. Now, everything's got the origin at the center, so this should be okay, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to move this to 110, giving it a second to move round. Let's click the door, shift click the building, and then I'm going to change this to be working around the active element. The origin's the same, so it should be fine, but either way, G and Z that up a little bit, RZ and 180, and then we can A and I to enter that keyframe. Again, we've got everything, should be working nicely. There we go. Now we want everything to come back down again. Let's give it again a second to rotate. So let's move this one. In fact, let's just grab all of them and then RZ 180, so we've got the spin, and then I'm going to deal with the positions separately. So notice I've not entered any keyframes. You can work with multiple things at the same time. So let's G and Z that down to here, and then let's move that one down so that we've got it at this point where it's going to lower down, and then same with this one. And then AI to enter the keyframe. We can do a test again. There we go. Spins, spins, spins nicely, and then everything comes back down. And then we want to just have the final everything dropping. That's going to take 1/3 of a second again, so we're going to 150. So let's just eyeball it and G and Z that down. If I was doing this for a proper project, I'd probably actually do this exactly, but it's fine for an animation, I'd say, of this sort of level, as long as you're not leaving a big gap. And then AI, and then we've got our keyframe sorted. Back to the beginning, let's press N to hide our sidebar, and let's get rid of all of our overlays, and then let's have a look at what this looks like. There we go. And everything spins back. Nice. Now obviously if you wanted to, you could have had this bit pause on the other side. It's entirely up to you, as long as it works. Now I will say that this now doesn't need to go on for a really long time. Okay, it's going to go all the way to 250. So I'd probably say just have this end at, let's say, 170, so that it starts showing everything again quite quickly. So we've got there, and that nice movement down. So there we go. That's a very basic animation showing everything splitting apart, giving both sides as a view, and making it so the animation looks like it would work with the model that you've created. Just to end with, I thought I'd show a quick animation of what this would look like fully rendered. It's a very simple rendering, but I thought people might appreciate it, knowing where this goes when you end up with a final piece. Obviously rendering isn't something I spend a lot of my time doing, but it's relatively easy to put together. If you'd like a video on that, I'd be happy to show you how to do that. Just let me know in the comments section. And thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. It's really appreciated, and have a great day.